Hi everybody, my name is Toria, and welcome to Readings with Lady Wren. I am just starting this book blog. It's been actually like maybe like 2 or 3 years that I've kind of had this in the works. But it's taken me a while to kind of get into a place where one, I'm comfortable in front of the camera, and then two, getting more consistent with making content. So I'm just gonna try and start out by putting a video out, something simple, just to introduce myself and give it a chance. So bear with me. I will not be looking into the eye camera that too much, just because anxious. Anyways, the main things I wanted to talk about today were a current read that kind of like made me feel better and kind of like revamp that love of reading that I haven't had in a while. Um, because it got me excited for reading again, and I feel like along with everything, this month has kind of been hard for me. Had a lot of rough stuff going on, so it was nice to have that kind of reading experience that got me excited for reading again, and I'm happy doing something that I love. So that first book that I want to talk about is Fourth Wing. I am very late to the game. Let me preface by saying that. It's been a popular book for a while, and even the third book is supposed to come out next month, January 2025. So I need to catch up. I do have both Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, so I've already started on this. Don't worry, I'm gonna catch up before Onyx Storm comes out. So when it comes, I can read it right away. But I had so much fun reading this. This is I think it's just the Barnes and Noble edition that came with like the edges with the dragons on the edge. Um, Looking at it now, I realize that there's multiple dragons on there, like different dragons on there, which is nice. I did not notice that before. But what made this experience of reading this so much more fun for me was I got maybe like 50 pages in, maybe like within, maybe even more than that. I think I got through like the first, I want to say 8 chapters, and I was like, no, I'm having too much fun with this. So I kind of went back to the beginning so I could start annotating it. And it has been such a long time since I really sat down and annotated a book. So it was nice to be able to do this again. And I'm the type of person that like I do full annotations, like writing in the margins, um, little hearts on like romance stuff that I love, underline highlights, different color tabs. So this has like everything in it. I don't know if you can see them, but I do have color tabs on here. For Fourth Wing, I decided to use these kind of tabs. I have both like thick and thin tabs that I really like. I really like the look of these ones. But I still get the bigger ones because these are like the original size that I used to use. But I go back and forth using them. Like I've used both in this book. And I also use different color highlighters too. I try to coordinate the colors of the tabs and things that go with the overall vibe of the cover. Not completely. This is like my first book where I had everything coordinated really in depth. But I also did similar tabbing kind of stuff with Song of Achilles. I did also tab what's it called? Priory of the Orange Tree, but not this edition. This is the Limerick edition. I tabbed and annotated my paperback edition of Priory. But this is my holy grail of annotated books that I have personally because, again, this one I used both thick and thin. Thick, thin, and then also even this big transparent one. Tabs. I don't know if I highlighted in here. Oh, no, I did underline. So in this one, I did underline and the tabs. But then I also have Oh no, I highlighted too. Then I also have page overlays. I have loved getting page overlays from Reading Portal. So just like a huge shout out to them because I have both their page overlays for Song of Achilles and then the ACOTAR series. Or the ACOTAR series. So I really like annotating, but I actually haven't annotated that many books. I probably only annotated maybe a good 3, 4, or 5, maybe 5 books. I'm very selective with it. Like Song of Achilles, that was probably my 3rd time reading it when I annotated it. Same with Prior of the Orange Tree, it was my 2nd time reading it. The first book that I probably annotated like during the first read would be Jade, Fire, Gold, I believe. But I had a great time annotating this. So I'm hoping to do the same thing, use the same tabs and everything for Iron Flame. And this is a big girl. So I'm excited. And I don't know if Onyx Storm is supposed to be bigger or smaller. I obviously have not seen a physical book to know. And I haven't looked in depth to see like a page count or anything, just because I'm more focused on making sure I get these books finished. But I'm glad I finished this one. So now I just have to work on Iron Flame. And I'm only about 10 pages in. Like I literally just read the first chapter. But outside of that, I just want to check in and also give a little shout out, really. This is my first F.T. Lukens book. I love this. I love this also. I just wanted to share. This is so cute. And this is part of the F.T. Lukens set that Illumicrate sold. So I have 3 more books of theirs. I actually do not know the gender of this author. Yeah, it says there. So we're going to go with there. I don't know. Their books are queer romances, which I love. Oh, and it's signed. I always forget about this because I get a lot of special editions, but it's a signed book. But the end papers in here are so gorgeous. I just love all these colors. Like orange and blue is actually like one of my favorite color combos. You know, like those I think they're called contrasting colors, are very nice. And I enjoy them very much. Also, that's another one I just finished. And then I want to talk about what's it called? Not A. I wanted to talk about the books that I'm currently reading that I just started most of these. I do have to remember to double check in my reading trackers to also tell you about my Kindle reads. But first I'll do my physical that I just started. Most of them I am just starting out. So the first one that I'm really enjoying is one that I actually won in a Goodreads giveaway. Who knows when? Forever ago. But it's called Memory Please. I really enjoyed this so far. I'm about 68 pages in. It's basically about this young woman who's living on, I think it's an island, I believe. And I don't know if it's specifically the government or just some kind of like group with a lot of power that is just kind of erasing certain items from existence and memory. So like any evidence of the items will completely disappear, or they'll collect them and destroy them. And then for some reason, once that happens, like everybody's memory of the items like disappears as well. Like they can no longer recall that part. that element of it is really interesting so far because you still don't really understand how disappearing works. Like on a physical level, like they get rid of all evidence of something, like they destroy, say, something that's disappeared as is hats. So they'll get rid of all the hats, and like everybody that's like hat makers and stuff like that will have to find new jobs. And like everybody's memories of hats also disappear, and they can't recall what um it used to be. Like it's weird, like to the point where people don't even know what they're missing, they just know something's missing. So that aspect of it, like how it also affects their minds, is the main curiosity of the book. And so far it's just about things that are disappearing and how she's handling her day-to-day life with random things slowly disappearing. But then now people are also starting to disappear too, so it's about her kind of trying to maneuver around that. Memory, please. And then I don't know if anyone else, well, I shouldn't say that, there's plenty of people. I am a K-pop fan, just to be clear. I don't know how much I will be talking about K-pop on this channel. I really don't do much in the K-pop realm besides, listen to music and on occasion collect albums. So maybe I could do like album unboxings and stuff like that eventually, but most of this channel is going to be about books. So that preface was to explain that I am reading, I don't know where my volume 1 is, but I'm on volume 4 of Seven Fates Chakal, which is created in collaboration with BTS, because they are one of my alt groups. So, and I've actually really enjoyed this. I really don't know how to explain it. I've that's the thing with reading the volume so far. It's like, even in my personal reviews, like just like as notes for myself, logging like what I've read, most of them it's just like I can't really explain it, but I'm having a great time. Like there's just so much. It's a fantasy world, so there's a lot to explain to understand the dynamics of the world. Just know it's great. So I definitely would recommend checking it out and like looking at the synopsis itself. I would read you the synopsis, but again, I don't know where my volume 1 is, and this is 2, 3, and 4, and then I have 5 over there. So yeah. But I'm having a great time. I don't know how to explain to you what's going on. A lot is going on. That's why, because there's a lot going on, like in the present world, and then there's also like, I think somehow like past lives involved. It's weird. Like it just keeps building. I'm having a great time, and I also don't know. I feel like each member designed a specific character, but I don't even know which characters are whose. Oh, it does tell you. But again, they only mention like one at a time because you're meeting them as you go. You're not meeting all of the characters at once. But great time. Read them. But yeah, I'm on volume 4. Working to get to volume 5. I usually use like graphic novels, manga, stuff, and donghwas. No, donghwas is the visual, isn't it? Manhwas. Manhwas, and just general graphic novels are what I kind of use as palate cleansers, or when I'm kind of stuck in a rut, but I still want to get some reading done. So that is what those are. And this is my current. And then the next one is another queer romance, Queet Cute. This is a Lumicrate. I think it's from Afterlight. I'm kind of conflicted about this. I'm not gonna lie. I've been reading it and it's not really like drawing me in. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of like I'm bored with it at the present moment because I'm not really identifying with either of the characters. besides being queer. That's about it. Like, it's just, and I feel like to understand some of the things they say and talk about, because the author uses a lot of acronyms that I feel like people within the soccer slash football world would understand, but I don't, because I stopped playing soccer when I was 11. So I have no idea what she's talking about sometimes. And I probably could Google it, but like, I don't want to do that in the middle of a page. You know what I mean? I feel like some stuff that it's helpful to kind of explain it at least once instead of just putting random acronyms in there. Maybe I'm just not picking up on the context clues. But I'm only in chapter 2, and I feel like she's used a few acronyms that I just didn't catch. And the characters are kind of just boring so far. Respectfully. No hate to this author or this book. I really love the color scheme of this. I do. Which is why I'm trying to like it. That and it's queer. Because we love queer. And then after a long, long time, one of my first fairy loot books that I got that I absolutely loved was Six Crimson Cranes. And it has been, I don't even know how many years, and I have still not read The Dragon's Promise, because I've heard such negative reviews about it. I feel like a lot of people were disappointed with how the duology ended, and I just don't want it to end badly. So I've been very hesitant to get this started, and I just started it. I have no issues with anything so far. I'm only on chapter 3, but I'm just hoping it doesn't let me down. But I feel like it's been enough time since I first read Six Crimson Cranes, but I can still fully remember the whole story, which makes me feel good and solid in the fact that, like, yes, that was a book that I really loved, which is why I wanted to continue the series. And I'm just really hoping that I still love this as well. One, because I paid for the special edition. I didn't get the one with the matching thing. Can't even remember what it was. But this was also during the time where Fairy Loot had a lot of issues with special edition orders and things like that. Got a lot of backlash because they were running out very quickly. So they offered 2 different versions of, I think, this, and then I think there was another series where it was like These Hollow Vows. I think the sequel to that also was during that time where Fairy Loot was getting a lot of backlash about like sales, because Fairy Loot editions are very popular and people would get really angry when editions would sell out in the early access sales and never even make it to general sale. So now they allocate a certain number of editions for early access sale and a separate amount of books set aside for general sale. So there's no like worry about there not being a general sale. They always make sure there's both now, but that took a while for them to kind of figure out how to balance things out. But The Dragon's Promise. Now, and then of course Iron Flame. I can't remember if I actually mentioned that. And then now for the Kindle books that I have been in the middle of. First one I can talk to you about is that I'm finally getting through working on Throne of Glass. Crazy part is I read ACOTAR series first, and then I read Crescent City, and now I'm reading Throne of Glass. I got through Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Assassin's Blade, and then now I am in Heir of Fire. I read it in that order that I just said, because that is what the author said to do, and I've never heard a person that like I follow do it any other way besides like the only like alteration I've heard is Assassin's Blade after Air of Fire instead of Crown of Midnight. Those are the only alters I've changed. That I very rarely come across somebody that says to read it before you start the series. As much as it is a prequel, I think it is better to read it after you've read at least the first couple books. I haven't read Air of Fire fully, obviously, to know if it would be better after Air of Fire or before, but I definitely feel like it is a good place to put it at least after the first two books. I'm in the middle of a lot of series now that I just realized. A lot of sequels I'm reading, which is not bad. I this last month of the year, I'm kind of just been reading what I want to read because I hit my reading goal for the year in like October. So I've kind of just been coasting and reading what I want to read. So, An Echo of Things to Come, which is the second book of this series, like a Lacanus trilogy or something like that. This is the first book in the series, A Shadow of What Was Lost. I think this would be considered high fantasy or epic fantasy. This is my first epic fantasy, I want to say. I loved this. Loved it. So I'm really excited to get further into the second book, which is right here that I'm currently reading, An Echo of Things to Come. This one's a little bit bigger. And then the third book, I think, is close to the same size, just a little bit bigger. And the third book is called The Light of All That Falls. But I'm on this one. And I'm also reading this book on negotiation that was recommended to me by my therapist, so take with that what you will. But it's called Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as If Your Life Depended on It by Chris Voss. It's like a self-help book. It's supposed to like teach you how to like use negotiation tactics to help you like in everyday life, to kind of get what you actually want out of life and have more control in asking for what you want and getting what you want. So that is a book that I just started maybe yesterday that I'm reading on my Kindle. You will also learn I have multiple Kindles. I have a Scribe, I have a Paperwhite, and then I just have a Kindle Basic. I have no excuses. I have no excuses. I just use different ones for different things. I'm trying to be rational and not get a Kindle Color Soft just because it has color. So I'm trying to convince myself to be rational about that situation, but I still want it. I would want a Kindle for every day of the week just to be nonsensical. I feel like that defeats the purpose of having a Kindle in the first place. Yes, but I like my different Kindles for different things because I can have one in my purse for every day. The Scribe I usually use at home, and then the Paperwhite I can use really all over the place. My two smaller ones I kind of like rotate them, but the biggest one stays home. Scribe does not go anywhere. It's too expensive. It goes nowhere. Unless I go to the library or something, like I'll take it with me to the library. But yeah, it costs too much. It costs way too much. I'm sorry, I am so all over the place. Alright, I think there's two more books that I'm currently reading. Gold, which is the fifth book in the Plated Prisoner series, that is a King Midas retelling. So if you like King Midas, I wouldn't recommend it. He is a dick. in this series. But it's a King Midas retelling. It is very good. It's a fantasy retelling of King Midas. So you might enjoy it, you might not. Ribbons are involved. And now the last one, because I think my camera is about to die. Scum Villain Self-Saving System, Volume 4. This volume is just a bunch of bonus stories, which I realized when I started it, which is why it's taken me a while to actually work through it, because I was like, I already finished the main story, so there's not as much of a push to read this one. But it's by an author that oh, it's actually my first time reading this author. I thought it was the same author. But I love my Dame. I love my Dame. This whole shelf, except for Inuyasha, is Dame. And this whole shelf is actually by the same author. Except, oh, here it is, right here. Scum Villain Self-Saving System. Here we go. Again, if you like queer Chinese men. This and many other series we can talk about. But yeah, I'm gonna go because this is probably the most chaotic video you've ever seen. But thank you for tuning in. Happy reading, and see you later, book birds. See you later, book birds.